Hey everybody, Pilot here, and today I wanted to share something with you guys a little bit more serious. Um, as we all know, with the shootings that have been happening lately, uh, gun laws are a very prevalent idea in the mind of any politicians, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Is the more serious side of gun laws and the effects that it'll have on our community, on our nation. And before I get started, I want to just show you that for you gun nuts that this rifle is clear, nothing in the chamber. Magazine is unloaded, and this is my Windham Weaponry AR-15 sight-ready carbine, and I have done a review on this already. You can click anywhere on the screen and that'll take you to that review. But I wanted to talk today about gun laws. So the first thing that I want to bring to light is the Clinton gun ban that ran from 1994 to 2004 and banned many features on present-day firearms. Magazines were extremely restricted. Collapsible butt stocks were extremely limited. Just all the things that made a rifle more convenient, I guess you could say, were restricted. Now, things like the bolt inside and the mechanisms that made the firearm work, those were not banned. But the Clinton gun ban was introduced to try and lower the crime rates. But as we all know, that did not happen. Crime, when it came to guns anyway, stayed exactly the same. In fact, it actually rose a little bit because the law-abiding citizens didn't have their firearms. They didn't have as many firearms. They were much harder to obtain, you could say. Now, more recent, we have the strict gun laws in D.C., in Washington, D.C., and many of those were repealed recently, which is good. But before that, there were many laws concerning handguns and things you could and could not own. And the crime rate in Washington, D.C., because of that, was through the roof. Because these people didn't have any firearms, the criminals had firearms, and they were able to go completely unrestricted and commit these atrocities with their firearms, and the citizens had no way to defend themselves. But luckily, a lot of politicians are seeing through this and finally getting common sense and relaxing some gun laws. Like in Washington, D.C., a lot of those laws have now been relaxed. But there's also the issue of overseas gun laws, in that a few weeks ago, and I'm not sure if this passed or not, I'm hoping that it hasn't, but a few weeks ago it was proposed that the UN would have a vote that would basically state that all members, all nations that were members of the UN would have much, much stricter gun control, making a gun like the one that you see here completely illegal. And for one, I never knew that a foreign nation could have power over United States legislation. I mean, I know they can in some respects, but I mean, that hasn't been a thing for hundreds of years. But it's just astounding when you look at places like Mexico that have some of the strictest gun laws on the planet. It's extremely hard to get a firearm in Mexico. Completely illegal to get calibers such as 5.56 that the military uses that are in standard AR-15s. And yet, the crime rate when it comes to guns is through the roof. Partially thanks to Fast and Furious, but that's a different video. That's a different video altogether. And then you look at nations like Switzerland, which you're allowed to own fully automatic firearms. Completely automatic. You can, when you're in the Swiss army, in the Swiss military, you can purchase your combat weapon. And it can be fully automatic, burst fire, it doesn't matter, you can purchase it. And Switzerland has the lowest crime rate on the planet. They don't have registration. They don't have anything like that. Everybody carries a gun. It's just customary. And they have the lowest crime rate on the planet for obvious reasons. An armed community is an honest community. When everybody has a gun, it's just the same, as everybody being protected. And of course, when everybody is armed, crime rate will fall because the criminals are going to know that everybody is armed. But that's just my little rant on gun control and how ineffective gun control is and how relaxed we need to be when it comes to gun control. Because more gun control equals more violence. And it's as easy as that. You need to look no farther than Mexico to our south, or London, like the London riots. It's just madness, the lack of firearms. And that doesn't even count for government tyranny, I mean, the whole reason we were allowed firearms was not to hunt. It was not for self-defense, but it was to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. And the Second Amendment, when it says, when it talks about a well-regulated militia, it doesn't mean a well-regulated army. It means a group of people who come together that are not funded by the government, but are well-trained, well-regulated. And that's what that meant, 200 years ago. Well-regulated meant well-trained, well-disciplined, but not of the government. And we have militia today. Our country was formed by militia. And they are what will keep our country free in the event of government tyranny. They will be the ones who are there to rescue us. And the way that our country is going today, how we keep falling further and further in debt, and laws keep getting stricter and stricter, and freedoms are getting stripped every day. Another freedom is getting stripped. We will need a militia to help save us, and I want to be there with them, preserving our national unity, preserving the great American experiment. I know that this video was a little different than most of my videos, and I like doing this type of stuff. I like doing political things. I feel that everybody should get involved because it's what matters to them. It's their livelihood, And if you guys want to see more of this type of stuff, just go ahead and tell me, and I'll make plenty. I love doing this. I could go on all day when it comes to things like this. And also, if you guys want to see any games from me, just go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I'll get to them. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe, and tell me your opinions on gun control. Thanks, guys.